Have you ever noticed how one small thought can spiral into a storm? You make a tiny mistake at work, and suddenly your mind whispers, "I'm not good enough." A friend doesn't reply to your message, and instantly you think, "They must be upset with me." Negative thoughts spread like wildfire, and before you know it, they've taken over your entire day. But here's the truth, it's not just the thoughts themselves, it's the habits that feed them. Habits that seem harmless on the surface, but keep you trapped in cycles of doubt, fear, and self-criticism. Today, I'm going to uncover the everyday habits that fuel negative thinking and show you how breaking them can free your mind to see possibility, hope, and strength again. Let me tell you about Alex. On the outside, he seemed to have everything together, a steady job that paid the bills, good friends who cared about him, and a supportive family always by his side. To others, Alex looked like someone who was doing well, maybe even thriving. But inside, the reality was completely different. Alex was constantly fighting a war with his own thoughts, a battle that no one else could see. Every time someone gave him a compliment, instead of feeling proud, he twisted it in his mind as pity, convincing himself they were just being polite. Every time he faced a new challenge, he didn't see it as an opportunity, but as proof that he wasn't capable, that he would eventually fail. At night, when the world was quiet, Alex's mind was anything but. He replayed old mistakes over and over again, like a broken record stuck on the same painful track. Conversations from years ago, failures long past, moments that others had already forgotten. Alex relived them daily. And then there was the endless comparison. Scrolling through social media, he stacked his life against the highlight reels of others, always coming up short in his own eyes. What Alex didn't realize was that it wasn't fate, bad luck, or even external circumstances holding him back. It was his own habits of thought, the little routines of the mind he repeated without question, that kept him trapped in negativity. When we take a closer look at Alex's struggles, it becomes clear that what kept him stuck wasn't just the presence of negative thoughts, but the habits that fed them. These habits operated quietly in the background of his life, shaping how he interpreted every moment. And the danger was this: they felt normal, almost invisible until the weight became impossible to ignore. The first destructive habit was rumination. Alex had the tendency to replay past mistakes again and again, as if going over them would somehow change the outcome. Instead of learning and moving on, he remained trapped in cycles of regret. A presentation that went poorly 2 years ago could still ruin his night today because his mind refused to let it go. This habit didn't just steal his peace in the present, it chained him to a past he couldn't change. The second was comparison. Whenever Alex scrolled through social media, he measured himself against others. A colleague got a promotion, a friend traveled abroad, an old classmate posted pictures of a perfect-looking family. Alex's brain instantly translated these images into proof that he was falling behind. What he didn't see was that these were highlight reels, not the whole story. But the habit of comparison made him feel smaller each time, and over time it eroded his sense of self-worth. The third harmful habit was negative self-talk. Alex had an inner voice that was harsher than any critic outside. Whenever he made a mistake, that voice whispered, "You're stupid. You'll never get it right." Whenever he faced a challenge, the voice said, "You can't handle this." Over time, those words became a script he repeated so often that he began to believe them. And believing them shaped the way he acted, less confident, less willing to try, more likely to give up before even starting. The fourth habit was focusing only on problems rather than solutions. When difficulties arose, Alex's mind zoomed in on everything that could go wrong. He magnified obstacles and minimized opportunities. If a project had one risk and 10 benefits, Alex obsessed over the risk until the benefits disappeared from view. This constant focus on the negative drained his energy and left him paralyzed, unable to move forward. Together, these habits created a mental prison. Rumination tied him to the past. Comparison stole his joy in the present. Negative self-talk sabotaged his belief in the future. And problem-focused thinking kept him from taking action. None of these habits appeared overnight. They developed slowly, reinforced by repetition, until they became Alex's default way of thinking. And that's what makes them so dangerous. They don't just influence a single thought, They shape an entire mindset. The truth is, many of us carry these same habits. We relive our mistakes, compare ourselves endlessly, criticize ourselves mercilessly, and magnify our problems until hope feels far away. These habits don't just create negative thinking, they sustain it, making it harder to break free. And unless we recognize them for what they are, we risk living trapped in cycles that keep us from ever experiencing peace or growth. The same way habits can trap us in negativity, new habits can lead us out. The first healing habit is reflection instead of rumination. When a mistake happens, ask, "What can I learn?" instead of replaying it endlessly. This shift transforms regret into growth. The second is gratitude over comparison. Instead of measuring life against others, focus on what is already good in your own. Writing down 3 things each day can rewire the mind to notice abundance rather than lack. The third healing habit is practicing compassionate self-talk. Replace harsh inner words with truthful affirmations. I am learning, I am growing, I am capable. Over time, this new script becomes the one you believe. And finally, solution-focused thinking. When problems arise, ask, what is one small step I can take? Problems shrink when paired with action. These small, intentional habits don't erase challenges, but they give you the strength to face them with clarity and hope. Negative thinking doesn't mean you are broken. It means you've practiced certain habits for too long. The good news is you can practice new ones. Tonight, catch one negative habit and replace it with a healing one. Choose reflection over rumination, gratitude over comparison, compassion over self-criticism. Small choices, repeated daily, build a new mindset. If this message touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because freedom begins the moment you decide not to be trapped by your thoughts, but guided by your hope.